Hello! This video is going to compare a few key features between Kdenlive, a free open source video editor that works on Linux, macOS, and Windows, versus Premiere Pro, a closed source subscription-based software only for macOS and Windows. We shall start with Kdenlive. As for editing and cutting clips, this is a very easy and straightforward process. Similar to pretty much every other video editing software I have ever used. Deleting clips, moving them around the timeline, and removing empty space between clips is simple and straightforward. Kdenlive is a Linux app first and foremost. Therefore, it follows the Linux design philosophy of building things to be as modular as possible, with each module designed to do one thing and one thing only. This is why there are so many different effects in the effects picker. For example, with Kdenlive, the exposure effect will only control for the exposure of the clip, and it does that very well. Just like for Premiere Pro, Kdenlive can also do chroma key, green screen removal. This effect is not quite as polished or as high quality as in Premiere Pro or other professional video editors, but it works well enough if you know how to fine-tune the settings. And it works pretty well on this first clip, but for clips with, weird shadows and weird, less consistent lighting, it falls apart. One big problem with Kdenlive is that when you apply lots of heavy effects to your clips, playback speed will suffer. Another thing you can do is resize and move clips around on the frame. So it's a little weird how you do that in Kdenlive. Basically, you have to right-click on the clip, go down to Insert an Effect, go to Transform, and that will allow you to move the clip around and to drag it up and down and left and right and rotate it and scale it and all that kind of good stuff. So the final thing we're going to talk about in this video is how to add subtitles. In Kdenlive, there is no way to automatically generate subtitles like you can in Premiere Pro. Now, manually creating subtitles is pretty easy. You just press Shift S. It'll automatically create a new subtitle object on your timeline, which will snap the beginning of that object to your playhead. For a free piece of software, Kdenlive is extremely detailed and very feature rich. There's so much more it can do that I haven't even touched on in this video. But yeah, for free software, it's great. I'm not sure if it's quite there for like Hollywood level productions, but for most casual users, it'll work just fine. Now let's contrast how all of that works to how things work in Premiere Pro. Unlike in Kdenlive and other video editing software, in Premiere Pro you are encouraged to create a name for your sequence and the project bin when you create a new project. You can simply create a new blank project if you desire, but you can also specifically label these things to make them easier to identify later. Similar to Kdenlive, you can choose to import all your footage right up front, or you can just drag stuff onto the timeline later. It's really up to you. It is recommended, however, that you import your footage to make it easier to find later. One neat feature of Premiere Pro is that by selecting these buttons here, you can choose if you want to import a clip with both its audio and video, only the audio, or only the video. This can be useful if you only want the video part of a clip without the audio track, or vice versa. Color correction and special effects are both better and worse than in Kdenlive in some specific aspects. Because Premiere Pro likes to use monolithic structures that each contain a very large number of effects, finding the exact effect you are looking for can be difficult. For instance, you gotta just know that exposure and tint effects are all part of Lumetri Color and under the basic correction tab. So, trying to search for exposure in the search bar will not yield anything useful. This will make it frustrating and confusing for new users who are trying to find specific effects. It also makes the Effect Controls tab overly cluttered and difficult to navigate because you have to sort through 40 different effects you don't care about until you find the thing you're looking for. Kdenlive wins in this regard. It's a lot more simple. For these basic effects, the quality is about the same in both software, so if you're interested in basic color grading, Kdenlive is just as good, if not better, than Premiere Pro. One major benefit of Premiere Pro is that it can render out parts of the timeline. This allows for clips with lots of computationally heavy effects to play back smoothly because the CPU does not need to process them in real time. You can just simply pre-render everything, and then later on when you're scrubbing through the timeline, it's nice and smooth because it doesn't have to render all that stuff in real time. This is a killer feature. For more advanced effects like green screen removal, or Ultra Key as it is called in Premiere Pro, this is one area where having all of those options built in comes in handy. It allows for much finer control over the effect. In general, green screen removal looks a lot better in Premiere Pro than it does in Kdenlive. If you do mostly green screen related productions, then Premiere Pro might be worth it. When it comes to this specific torture test, however, Premiere Pro also struggles to remove all the green. Premiere Pro is generally better at this effect, but it's not perfect. When it comes to resizing and moving footage around the frame, it's a lot simpler in Premiere Pro. The options are already there in the effects window. No need to add a specific effect to gain access to this feature. One major advantage of Premiere Pro is generating subtitles, if you can figure out where to find the controls, however. The confusing and cluttered layout strikes again. Once you find the subtitle controls, however, you will find that the software has already generated transcript in the background. No need to install or configure anything. It'll still make mistakes, but their speech recognition algorithms are pretty solid. It can be a little confusing trying to figure out how to actually edit these transcripts. It did take me a while to figure it out, but hey, I was able to get there and fix all the problems that it had. Once you give this transcript a once-over and correct any errors, you can then tell Premiere Pro to automatically generate subtitles. This will create accurate subtitle objects on the timeline that will match up to what you were saying. This is dramatically easier than generating subtitles by hand, like how you have to do in Kdenlive and other software. Overall, Premiere Pro is very good. It's really not designed for your average end user who just wants to create YouTube videos and do basic stuff. It's a very expensive software, it's a subscription model. It kind of pushes things on you. It can be a lot buggier on certain platforms. So, it's kind of up to you if you want to deal with that. If you just want to do most things most people don't want to do, Kdenlive is fine. You can figure out how to tweak it to get better quality. And you can also download other additional effects and create your own custom effects if you don't like the ones that are already provided. Here's a demo project made in both software so you can compare the quality. Hello. Please make yourself comfortable. The current soup of the night is the charcoal mushroom, a blend of mushrooms, truffle oil, and a hint of garlic. It's dark and earthy, the essence of the night. Would you like to order the soup of the night? Hello. Please make yourself comfortable. The current soup of the night is the charcoal mushroom, a blend of mushrooms, truffle oil, and a hint of garlic. It's dark and earthy, the essence of the night. Would you like to order the soup of the night?